Hi, Cindy Harrison here. I wanted to show you quickly how easy it is to do lattice. If you're doing a flowery scene, garden scene, you want to add some lattice work in your background. This makes for a really nice background. I'm doing this just on a wood panel, and this is 4 inches by 12. And I first sealed and base coated this, and then took my chalk marker and made a line that I put on an angle, and I drew a line. Now I could keep drawing lines on both sides of this ruler, but my tape is not that wide. My tape is only 3/4 inches. So I'm not going to do that. I'm going to place my tape down against that line I drew. The next thing I'm going to do is take another piece of tape and place it against that line. Just bring it right up there, what you call a budding. We can put one on this side as well. I'm going to remove the first one so that I start my lattice lines up here. Make sure that is secured. Put the next one against that tape, and then continue on. Put that down. Make sure that your length of your tape goes beyond your surface. So see how this cuts short? That is not good. So I'm going to save that for down here. And this one's better. So put that against that. Take this off. Secure it. I'm going to go down this whole side. Make sure you secure that down. So that the paint doesn't bleed underneath. So this is our first set of slats, and I'm going to base coat that with some Dove Gray. When you base coat this with the paint, you do not want to have any water in your brush, so make sure you get all the water out of your brush. You want your brush to be moist so the paint doesn't start drying right away, but you don't want a lot of water because then it will go underneath your tape. I'm just going to do the top, so I start in the middle and I brush off in both directions. I don't want to start on the edge because I'll make lumps of paint. And it's okay if the first application is see-through, because you can go over it with a second coat of paint. I would pick any light value you want. It could be light buttermilk, light ivory. You don't want to use white for the mere reason that white is your highest highlight, high shine. If you start with white, you can't highlight it. You can't get it any whiter. I'm gonna check that out. I think that there's some areas here where the green is still showing through. The lower the angle is to the surface, if I paint like this, I leave brush starter marks. I don't know if you can see that, but I leave these starter marks. If I lower the angle of my brush, instead of this way, I go this way, I can kind of tickle the surface and I won't leave those marks. And that's why you're seeing me go down low to the surface. If the paint starts to drag, go add more paint to your brush. Try not to add water. I'm going to blow dry that, and then I'm going to remove the tape, but save the tape because we're going to start going the other way. So here is our first application. So now I have to marry the angle and have it going this way. You don't want it too much in one way or the other. You want it at the same degree. So I'm going to use my ruler, which is also a T-square. And I'm going to mark where the bottom of that strip is. So that's right here. And I'm going to check the distance. So this is 2 3/4, and I will bring it in 2 3/4. So if this started with the outside here, I'm going to start with it on top, but this side's going to end up over here and that side's going to be the other way. So at 3/4, I'm having the dot on the left side of the tape, but up here on the right side of the tape. See how I did that? I could have always measured the other one and then drew a line. Now I'm going to put my little tape. Where's that spacer tape that I had? My spacer tape. So we're going to do this all the way down the side. Now I'm going to take the paint and do that again, this time painting in between the tapes going in the opposite direction. Blow dry that and we'll do a reveal and see how we did. Okay, let's do the reveal. Now you need to decide which slats are on the top and which are on the bottom. The ones that are on the bottom I'm going to be shading with Mississippi Mud. You can put the tape back on if you want on the lattice that's on top, or you can just use your very sharp edged flat brush to do the side loading. Now Side loading is not an easy thing for some people, so I have a trick of doing pre-wetting. So if this is on top, all of these ones are underneath. I'm going to pre-wet that area that I'm wanting to push in the background, and I've loaded my brush on the corner, and I'm going to just put it on here a little bit and see how much water I have. If I have too much water, I'm going to tap it down on my paper towel, pick up some paint on the corner, check it again. I like that consistency. Make sure that this isn't puddling up too much, and come across against the slat that's going to be on top. Remember, I said this one direction's on top. If you like, you can take your mop brush and you can mop it out, and that will soften it. If it goes over the line, I'm going to take some paint off my brush. If it goes over the line, go back with a clean, flat brush and just wipe it away. Just like that. So, some water in my brush. I'm going to now pre-wet the next area. Pick up on the corner of my brush and start to apply that. Always have all the hairs on the surface with the same amount of pressure at the same time. No tipping it. And what I mean by that is, I don't want to see any of this. I want all the hairs on the surface at the same time. That's the only way that your brush will know what you want it to do. If you tip it, and I'll show you what happens. If I tip it, this is what I get. That's not what I want. I want it to have a gradation. Soft gradation from paint to no paint. If you go over the green, just wipe it off. I don't want a very stark line. And just as you saw, I went back in here and picked up the paint from here because it's still wet. I didn't have to go pick up a new load. I'm going to do all of the right side, and then I'll come back and do all of the left side. This way here I don't chance in wiping off what I just put on. Blow dry that, and we'll do the other direction, or the other side. Now I'm going to pre-wet again. If you start to wipe off the first shading, you want to hit it with a blow dryer again. I'm going to do on the other side. So I'm on the same slat, if you will, on the same slat that goes this way, but I'm doing both sides of it. If you want to make them look like they're going off the edge, then we can put some on the top slat against the outer edge of our piece. And no, I haven't pre-wet because I'm carrying so much water in my brush from doing all the other pre-wets that it's working quite well. But if it doesn't show a gradation of value, then definitely pre-wet. Now I want to highlight the top slats, and I'm going to do it with my white. And I'm going to actually use an old chip brush. They're really inexpensive, cheap chip brushes, and I'm going to use it in a dry brush manner. Lattice is not necessarily made of the most high quality wood, so it does have a lot of texture, the wood ones, and then they try to make the vinyl ones to look like it has texture as well. So I put it in the white paint. I'm going to wipe off most of it, and then I'm going to come in and just on a diagonal, not flat out, but on the chisel, I should say, make some highlight lines up the middle. In a sweeping motion. If you run out, go pick up more, wipe it off on your paper towel. Some of this will be covered with our flowers, so I don't know if you can see that, but it's there. If you want to touch a few areas here, but I wouldn't, that's going to be my top. So that's why I'm touching in a few areas here, but it's going to be hidden by the flowers. So that's your lattice work. This is part of the project that I'm doing for Paint with Heart this week called Glories, and it will be Morning Glory vine growing up our lattice. So for those of you who are going to join me, please get this far. Do as much as this as you can. If you don't understand it, contact me and we can start earlier than 3 o'clock on Sunday. So otherwise, I hope you enjoyed this little ditty on how to create lattice the easy way. Thank you for watching. If you're on YouTube, please like this channel, subscribe to it, ring the notification bell, share it, and leave a comment. And that would be wonderful and very, very helpful. So remember to always paint with heart.